July 3, 1852, Houston, Texas. The Civil War hadn't started yet, but the war against black flesh had never stopped. On the Goldberg estate, the cotton still whispered over the bones, and the big house still breathed through locked doors. Doors that never creaked, because silence was part of the design. Inside, Samuel Goldberg ruled without whips or screams. He used a catalog. He handpicked the bodies he bought, and paid double for one specific detail. It wasn't strong arms. It wasn't perfect health. It was the size of something he himself would never have. The traffickers whispered. The other masters laughed. But those who entered that mansion never left the same. Some never left at all. Khalil was one of them, young, branded, watching. But unlike the others, he didn't come to obey. He came to observe, to understand, and when the time came, to destroy. This is the true story of a master who tried to buy a man's body and ended up buying his own sentence. Before we continue, drop a comment telling us where you're watching from and what time it is there. And if you want access to exclusive, uncensored videos about the world's most brutal crimes, consider becoming a member. And don't forget to hit the like button. The morning sun sent jagged rays across the dusty square. The air tasted of sweat and fear. Shackles clinked in the hush, and a throng of men, women, and children, bodies weary from the passage, stood penned before the wooden dais. Their eyes stared at the ground or at distant walls, but never at their buyers, never at the men who would decide their fate. Khalil's heart hammered so loud it felt like thunder in his chest. He stepped forward, weak knees swaying, dressed only in torn linen that hung from his frame like a ragged shroud. He felt the grit of dirt in his toes, the sting of humiliating exposure, the weight of countless lives watching him. He did not know how to look away. The auctioneer, a gaunt man with a voice rough as dried leather, raised his gavel. Lot number 46. Strong young man, healthy, capacity for labor untold. His voice rolled out over the crowd, inviting bids as though he were selling cattle rather than flesh. A murmur rustled. Goldberg will pay double. Khalil froze, his stomach twisted. That name in the wind was a noose, tighter than any chain. The bidders circled. They poked, prodded, examined Khalil's limbs. They tapped teeth, tested his ribs, muttered under the brim of their hats. A child cried somewhere behind the boards. A woman shrieked and was silenced by a guard's club. "Come forward," a steward barked. Khalil's legs obeyed, but his mind hovered elsewhere. He felt hands on his shoulders, pushing, prodding, a flesh market where tender souls were torn. One man stepped forward with audacity. $1,000. Another said 11. Another raised 1,200. Then one voice rose. 1,500. The crowd gasped. 1,500 was more than value for a field hand. That was luxury. The auctioneer looked up. "Do I hear 16? 17? And then, Goldberg bids 30. A hush fell. 30? 30,000? No. 3,000? But that was more than twice what others offered. Twice. Why? Khalil's throat dried. His eyes found the floor. He recognized faces. Some had been sold before. Some would be sold after. All had names. All had stories. But here, in that sunlit square, they were meant to speak no more than the dead. Goldberg's agent strode forward in a fine suit, dusty but immaculate. He pushed through the crowd, unseen hands clearing the path. He placed his bid, the highest, and the hammer fell. In one brutal moment, Khalil's world changed. He was declared sold. He was released from the plank and herded toward the coach that would take him to the Goldberg estate. His body shook, not from fear, but from rage rising slow and cold behind his ribs. The road toward the plantation felt endless. The coach rattled over red clay, past fields already planted, past slaves walking bent beneath loads of cotton. They glowered. Some looked away. Some eyes flickered with curiosity and dread. Khalil would later learn their names. Ruth, Benjamin, Jonas, Sarah, but not now. Not yet. The coach stopped at a gate so tall it loomed like a prison wall. Iron spikes crowned it. 2 stone pillars bore the name Goldberg Plantation in bold black letters. Khalil's breath caught in his throat. The heavy wooden doors swung open at a signal. Guards in powdered coats and stiff boots stepped aside. He was led forward. The plantation stretched wide and low, a sea of cotton fields broken by the white walls of the mansion, the barns, the quarters. But the quarters, small huts, close to the fields, were mere afterthoughts in the geometry of power. Men in suits watched him arrive. Goldberg himself awaited on the veranda, wearing a dark coat, face unreadable. The sun struck his features, revealing his pale eyes and sharp bone. The crowd of overseers and buyers parted. Khalil nodded, nearly bowed, though his spirit refused to shrink. Goldberg's lips curled once. "Welcome," he said, voice calm and measured. "You have been chosen." The word hung in the air. Chosen. As though Khalil were some prize. not a man. From the veranda, Goldberg gestured. Women in linen dresses shaded their eyes. Children peered out windows. He invited Khalil forward with a small, mocking tilt of his head. Khalil's knees threatened to give way, but he steadied. Inside the mansion, the air was cool with the scent of polished wood, incense, and something darker beneath it, fear cloaked in velvet. Khalil's hands trembled. He was guided to a parlor, whose walls gleamed with paintings, gilded frames, and portraits of Goldberg's ancestors, predatory men, stern faces, eyes that demanded obedience through centuries. Khalil stood there, silenced, as Goldberg approached. The master's boots clicked on marble. He circled Khalil, inspecting him, a predator assessing prey. A silence stretched thick, oppressive, as though the walls held their breath. Goldberg paused before Khalil. "I paid more for you," he said softly, "because I see something special." Khalil's pulse hammered. "Special how?" he whispered, voice raw. Goldberg's lips curled. "Something I cannot fully explain, yet I intend to possess." His eyes were distant, predatory. "You will learn your purpose here." Khalil's lips parted to protest, but no sound came. The words died on his tongue as always. In that moment, he realized the cruelty of ownership was not just labor. It was having one's body appraised, judged, and used. He was ushered out. Guards led him through corridors, paintings watching him. He passed doors that were shut. He heard distant sobs he could not place. He sensed that beyond velvet drapes, darkness waited. At the edge of the hall, a servant led him downstairs to quarters not for nobles, but for the bodies bound to soil. Rough bunks, low ceilings, the stink of sweat and fear, lit by bare lamps. Khalil was shoved into a narrow cell-like room. He sank to his knees, raw and hollow. Night came. The sky blackened. In the darkness, the other captives whispered. He named them softly in his mind. Ruth, Jonas, Benjamin. Their voices trembled in low tones. He paid more for those with gifts, with bodies others feared to claim. Khalil closed his eyes. Pain and shame wrapped thick around him. But beneath it, something fiercer coiled. A memory of his mother's voice. A face flickering in darkness. Promise made to the bones of his ancestors. He would not bend wholly. He would not forget. And he would learn, whatever it took, why Goldberg paid double. The dusk dripped slowly across the plantation, long shadows stretching into corners where truth hid. The mansion's windows glowed with lamplight, as if it were alive, a breathing thing that watched, listened, mocked. Khalil rose from his bunk before dawn. His muscles protested, his spirit raw. He stepped out into the corridor, wood floor creaking, and heard muffled voices in rooms sealed tight. He pressed his ear to a door, a cry, silenced, a struggle, muffled. The house spoke in murmurs, it slept on screams. Everywhere he looked he saw symbols of power, portraits of Goldberg's forebears, glass cases, stiff furniture. Yet behind the luxuries was rot. The walls held secrets, smells of sweat and fear, and in corners, dark stains, faded marks, as though blood had been there long ago. Khalil was guided by a steward to meet the overseer, Mr. Darnell, a lean man, sharp lines, a permanent scowl, thick boots, caked red with earth. The overseer's eyes flicked over Khalil. Measurements, judgments. He said, "You'll start in the fields at sunrise tomorrow, but tonight, rest. You'll be shown your quarters, your duties. In time, you'll prove your worth." Khalil said nothing. He caught the overseer's glare, but met it with silent steel. As Khalil was brought outside, the servants opened the great doors. He crossed a marble threshold and entered the grand foyer. The air here was colder, artificially cooled, full of hidden gears, curtains drawn, tapestries hanging, a grand staircase winding upward like a spine. Goldberg stood there, at the top of the stairs, observing. His posture was calm, controlled, a man used to dominion. Khalil's heart thudded. He wondered what he would have done had he been free. Stare, turn, flee. But here, he stood caged by expectations he could not even name. Goldberg descended in slow, deliberate steps. The hush of silence followed him, as though the house paid attention to his approach. He paused, studied Khalil. Their eyes met for one heartbeat too long. Then, almost with a whisper, "The night has its purpose," he said. "Rest now. Tomorrow you join the cotton lines." Goldberg turned and climbed back silently, as if he belonged to the shadows. Khalil was led outward. The night was warm, humid, the fields stretching like a sea under moonless sky. Bees murmured in nearby groves. Cicadas shrieked. The roar of insects muffled distant cries. Khalil traced the path between the mansion and the slave quarters. a narrow dirt road flanked by cotton rows and lantern-lit barns. At the quarters, he met others, men whose eyes told long stories, women whose hands stained the earth, children with haunted stares. Ruth stood a little apart, her eyes hollow. Khalil caught her gaze. She nodded once, he nodded back. The gesture was fragile, like a leaf trembling in dusk wind. One man, Benjamin, spoke in low voice. He's different, not just bought, chosen. They say Goldberg pays double for those he desires. Benjamin's voice cracked like old wood. We whisper, but we keep closing ears. Khalil swallowed. He felt every man's stare, some curious, some fearful. He laid down on his bunk, muscles stiff, body tight. The darkness closed in, but the quarters were alive with breath, with pain. Later, he thought he heard music. A piano key struck in the mansion, a woman's sob, a child's cry, but sounds seemed to melt in walls. Regina, the cook, came by with porridge. She looked at Khalil with eyes that carried guilt, pity, and fear. She said nothing, placed the bowl, left. Khalil ate slowly, tasting salt, bitterness. He left the bowl half full. Hunger gnawed, but he quelled it. Hunger was a distraction. The real hunger was to know. In the dead hours before dawn, Khalil recalled the auctioneer's words, the double price, the hush when Goldberg bid. He felt a sickness coil in his gut. He asked himself again, why? He recognized at last that the house, this body of oppression, had many lungs. It breathed secrets, and those who lived within it inhaled and exhaled darkness. He would learn those lungs, track their path, and one day choke them from the inside. Outside, shadows shifted. Somewhere, a door opened, a footstep. Khalil sat up, heart pounding. Silence swallowed the noise. The house, alive, had paused. The night didn't fall. It crawled, heavy, slow, pressing down on Khalil's chest like the foot of a man used to winning. Inside the slave quarters, bodies twisted in sleep. But Khalil lay awake, eyes open, locked in a world between memory and war. The wood creaked. A rat scurried. Somewhere water dripped slow, like a wound that wouldn't close. He wasn't in the quarters anymore. He was back in that other place, that other night. Memory. Mama, are they coming? The lamp barely held a flame. The air was thick with sweat and silence. His mother, Miriam, pressed a finger to his lips. They always come, meu filho. The question is, are you ready? Khalil nodded. He was 8. His fists were small, but clenched. His eyes already knew too much. If they take me, she whispered. You don't scream. You remember. You remember my name. You carry it like a knife. Khalil shook. I won't let them, Mama. She smiled, broken but proud. They don't just kill our bodies. They try to erase our names. Don't ever let them. Then came the boots, the torches, the roar of white rage. Khalil was dragged into the corner by his brother. He saw them grab her, slam her against the wall, call her things that had no place in the mouth of God. They made her kneel. Then they made her swing. Her neck cracked, but her eyes stayed open. They watched Khalil, and he watched her body move in the wind like some cursed flag. No one screamed, not then, but her voice, it never stopped. Now, Khalil gasped. Sweat soaked his skin. The room was dark, but someone was watching. Benjamin, old, bent, but still alive, still dangerous. You saw her again, didn't you? He rasped. Khalil didn't answer. He didn't need to. Benjamin leaned closer. She's swinging every night in your head, boy. Khalil's jaw clenched. She don't swing. She waits. Benjamin raised his brows. For what? Khalil turned to him, eyes like embers. For me to finish what they started. Benjamin nodded slow. Respect. Fear. From the corner, Ruth spoke. Her voice was low, rusty from too much silence. They hanged my daughter too. Said she cried too loud at night. Said she warned the spirits. Khalil turned. His voice was ice. What's her name? Ruth blinked, as if no one had asked that in years. Anaya. Khalil closed his eyes. Then tonight, I remember 2 names. Silence fell, heavier than chains. Benjamin leaned back. Goldberg picked you for a reason. Khalil stared into the dark. He picked me for a mistake. Benjamin frowned. You don't believe that? No, Khalil said. I believe he paid double for his own destruction. He stood, slow, deliberate. He just don't know it yet. Outside, the wind changed. Somewhere deep in the big house, a door creaked. Floorboards shifted. Khalil didn't flinch. He sat back on the bunk, closed his eyes, and listened, not for footsteps, but for Miriam's whisper. Don't forget, don't forgive. Remember my name, and make it echo. The morning broke in pale slices. The sky, washed in gray, offered no mercy. Khalil rose with the others, bent backs, hollow eyes, steps silent as shadows. They filed toward the fields under the orders of Mr. Darnell, overseer, and his whip-cracked silhouette. As they marched, talk was soft, cautious. Benjamin leaned close to Khalil's ear, voice a rasp. They say the men he pays double for. They vanish. No coffins, no tombstones, just silence. Khalil's heart tightened. He glanced at Jonas, who was walking ahead with a limp. They passed piles of cotton, half-picked, stained white and red and dusty brown. In a row, the men bent. Their hands moved fast, plucking lints, filling sacks. The sun rose, heavy and unrelenting. Sweat dripped down necks, clung to skin. The quarters seemed miles behind. At midday, they rested. Khalil sat under the edge of a tree, staring at a small creek. Others drank sparingly. The ground was parched, the air bitter. A child's cry carried from somewhere near the mansion. Benjamin broke the lull. "Do you remember Jonas came last month? Strong, built like an ox. 3 weeks later, ghost. No word." Khalil clenched his fists. They told him he was sick, took him inside to recover, but no one ever returned. Ruth, sitting near, turned her face. Her eyes glistened. "My daughter's gone too. They said she ran away, but I know they carried her in the dark." Khalil's voice was tight. "They lie with every tongue." The men resumed work, but Khalil's mind churned. He watched the horizon. He watched how the mansion windows glared at them. He felt eyes beyond eyes. He felt the land itself leaning in. Afternoon crept in. A guard strode across the fields, bell clinking, checking quotas. A man tripped, sack spilling cotton. The guard struck him, then laughed. The man moaned. His name was Abel. Khalil intervened. Soft, urgent. "Help him." Benjamin, Ruth, Jonas joined. Together they lifted the sack, helped Abel stand again. The guard barked, but the group held firm. Just for a moment, the guard cursed and left. Khalil's body hummed with fire. He felt strength in the collective act. Even small resistance was venom to the system. As dusk approached, the field hands trudged back. Khalil's ankles ached. His back was a tremor, but his spirit pulsed. Before entering the quarters, he slipped through the edge of the plantation to the edge of the woods. He crouched behind a tangle of brush and glimpsed a hidden path, narrow, worn. He followed it a few steps, and there, between trees, he saw a small gravesite, unmarked, fresh soil, no stones, just earth broken and turned. He recognized a name carved on a wooden plank, Jonas. His breath caught. He stepped back, unseen, heart pounding. He swallowed bile. He looked at the plantation, white walls, looming towers, the silhouette of the mansion. He returned to quarters, silent as death, but inside, the whispers already moved. That night, Benjamin confronted him. "You saw it, didn't you?" Khalil looked up at the faint lamplight. "He's buried in the dark. Just what they do to those they want forgotten." Ruth's voice cracked. "We carry their names, so they live." Khalil nodded. "We carry, and one day, they'll hear them roar." In the dark, the wind moaned. Something stirred in the west hall of the mansion. Khalil felt it, the breath of Goldberg's secrets leaking through walls. He lay back on his cot, eyes open, limbs still. His vow burned in his veins. He would map every grave, every disappearance. He would stitch the torn names back into flesh, and he would guard them with blood. The air was heavier than guilt as dawn broke. The plantation stretched before them, fields humming with labor, the mansion's silhouette grave against the pale sky. Khalil rose before the others. His body ached, but his mind burned. In the quarters, he gathered Benjamin and Ruth under the cloak of half-light. The others lay asleep, exhausted, unaware of the spark coalescing. Khalil's voice was low and fierce. "They bury names. They bury lives. We will plant fire in their graves." Benjamin swallowed. "You mean revenge?" Khalil nodded. "A seed of fire. Not blind fury. Exact justice. We strike where they will not see until it's too late." Ruth's eyes glinted. "Goldberg's men patrol the woods nightly. They burn fields if something offends them." Benjamin whispered. "Crops, barns, guards. Something to pull attention, but also a message." Khalil exhaled slowly. "Tonight, one guard will be punished, not killed. That attracts alarm. A warning. The masters bleed too." He looked at Ruth. "Your daughter's name, Anaya. They claimed she ran. We will mark her in the place they erased, so all know what they did." Ruth bent her head, silent tears brimming. Benjamin's jaw tightened. Khalil continued. "We'll use the forges, the barns, the stores. We'll steal matches, oil, wood. We'll burn cotton stocks. We'll strike in darkness, and before dawn, vanish like smoke." They nodded. At midday, Khalil moved through the fields, silent as shadow, observing guard shifts, noting which paths were least watched. He slipped a small iron file from a tool cart, a glint of metal in his palm, a promise. He kept his eyes on Jonas, limping, moving slowly. Jonas caught his look and nodded faintly. Khalil offered a small nod in return. Jonas understood. Tasks consumed them through afternoon, cotton picking, carrying, binding. But in every breath, Khalil measured distances, watched doors, overheard words from overseers. He stored every scrap in the hidden chambers of his mind. Night came. The plantation quieted. The moon hovered. Khalil, Benjamin, Ruth and Jonas slipped from the quarters. Khalil led them to the barns. They used oil stolen from barrels. Their hands trembled, but not their purpose. A guard dozed near a shed. Jonas pinned his arms behind his back, gagged him, dragged him into the shadows. Not to kill, just pain. just fear, a warning. They left him inside a small barn, locked with a latch, shouting, banging, but barred from exit. Then they doused cotton bales in kerosene. They lit a torch stolen from the mansion supply. Flames licked the dry fibers fast. The barns roared. Sparks flew. Wood cracked. Night shrieked. Khalil watched from a distance, heart roaring. The fire climbed. Smoke choked the air. They retreated to the woods. Behind them, the plantation huddled in shock. At sunrise, as guards scrambled, Khalil and the others were already back in quarters, feigning sleep. The alarm rang. Guns fired. Men ran toward the barns. Benjamin whispered, "We did it." Ruth touched Khalil's arm. "I heard someone shout, 'The blacks set fire!'" Her voice cracked. "They'll answer now." Khalil's eyes were steel. "Let them. Let the fire speak. Anaya's name will burn in their memory." They lay silent. The world outside screamed. The plantations breathed fire. And within Khalil, a new blood lit. Vengeance had seen its first dawn. Night descended like a shroud, thick and suffocating. The plantation's lanterns flickered, casting long shadows that danced among the cotton rows. Khalil moved with cat-quiet steps, his eyes sharp in the gloom. Jonas walked beside him, limp but determined, his face pale under the lamplight. They carried small tools, cloth strips, a vial of oil stolen from the barn store. Tonight was the night to test the limits of fear. Khalil whispered, "Stay close. We don't rush. We listen. We slip through walls." Jonas nodded, swallowing. He gripped the support of a broken branch for balance. They skirted close to the big house walls where servants rarely patrolled. The air was thick, the scent of warm stone, dust, and something fetid from closed rooms. Khalil's heartbeat pounded like a war drum in his chest. They reached a side door, half hidden in shadow. Khalil crouched, fingers working the latch. It groaned. He froze. Footsteps, then silence. The door eased open. He led Jonas inside. Corridors stretched dark and hushed. Each painting's eyes seemed to follow them. Tapestries muffled sound. Gold frames glinted in the weak light. The air smelled of old wood, polished surfaces, secrets sealed for decades. Jonas whispered, voice hoarse, "I fear this place more than the fields." Khalil's voice was calm, cold. "Fear is the cage of the accustomed. We walk beyond it now." They proceeded to a wing rarely used. Doors locked tight, hinges stiff. Behind one, Khalil believed, lay the room where the special bodies were kept, where Goldberg's desires hid behind velvet drapes and locked shutters. Khalil placed his hand on the doorknob. It trembled under his grip. He exchanged a glance with Jonas. Jonas nodded. Khalil opened the door. Inside, darkness. The drapes were drawn, a faint smell of musk and perfume, a hush thick enough to choke. Khalil lit a small candle he'd carried, and the flame danced, revealing walls lined with wardrobes, trunks, mirrors, a bed draped in heavy fabrics, a desk cluttered with papers and small bottles. Jonas gasped, stepping backward. "This is it," he said, voice tight. "This is his room." Khalil's eyes roamed. He stepped forward, hand reaching out to unclip a bottle. In the mirror's glass, he caught his reflection beside Goldberg's legacy. He choked back anger. He snatched a journal from the desk, pages filled with names, measurements, marks, dates, and sketches, bodies drawn as objects. The pages dripped with violation. He whispered to Jonas, "We take this. We know. We tell." Jonas nodded. Khalil ripped pages, folded them, tucked into his shirt. But a floorboard creaked. They froze. The door behind them opened. Goldberg stood there, silhouette in lamplight. His eyes burned with recognition and rage. Khalil didn't speak. He stood rigid, body coiled. Jonas quivered behind him. Goldberg's voice was cold steel. "Do you know what you've stolen?" Khalil's voice came like a blade. "Your shame, your secrets. You kept bodies. Now they speak through us." Goldberg laughed. Low, bitter. "Fools, you think revenge is yours to claim? Revenge is mine to deny." Footsteps, guards, closing in. Khalil shifted toward Jonas. He handed over the journal, forced. "Let them read. Let them know." Goldberg moved. His hand brushed Khalil's face, gentle, menacing. "You will suffer for this," Jonas cried out behind him. One guard lunged. Khalil swung, barely aware of the blow. Pain flared. He staggered. The journal slipped, pages scattering. Goldberg tore off a page and held it up. This is your only value." The guards grabbed Jonas. Khalil dropped to his knees, howling, not for mercy, but for power. Goldberg turned, cloak swirling, and left the room with a final hiss. "You're playing with fire. You will burn." They dragged Jonas out. Khalil, grievously wounded, lay amid the papers, face wet with blood. He watched the door slam shut. He tasted loss and fury, bitter and alive. In darkness he whispered to the walls, "They took Jonas, but they left me his rage." He crawled to the broken journal pages. He gathered them, stained with his blood. The pain blurred him, but within that blur, his purpose sharpened. They would pay, all of them. Night draped itself heavy over the plantation, a curtain of black that shivered with hidden menace. Khalil lay awake on his bunk, ribs searing with pain, body raw from the blow, yet sleep fled him. Vengeance frothed in his veins. He rose, silent as mist, slipped from the quarters into the tight shadows between the huts. The others murmured in restless sleep. He paused by Ruth's door, her chest rising slow. He touched the wood, held his breath, then moved on. He crept toward the big house, knowing the guards' routes, memorizing their footfalls. Tonight, he would use himself as smoke, as signal, as arrow for their terror. Passing the main gate, he skirted near the servants' entry, stepping lightly along stone, listening, watching. The mansion loomed, windows dark, doors closed. Somewhere inside, music no doubt played, soft, distant, comfort for the guilty. Khalil approached a garden shed adjacent to the house. Its door left ajar. He slipped in. Inside, he found barrels of oil, rags, torches. He recognized the smell, kerosene, lashings of lantern oil. He filled small jars, wrapped rags around his arms, thighs, chest. He hissed with pain, but he pressed on. He lit the ends. The rags caught flame. The fire licked his flesh, searing, screaming. He stood there, whispering names: Miriam, Anaya, Jonas, Ruth, Benjamin. He let the flame run along his skin in thin lines, so that his pain would draw the eyes of the arrogant. He stepped from the shed, drenched in burning light, toward the mansion walls. Guards spotted him, shouted. He ignored them. He walked, flame crawling, body aflame, not consumed, but breathing in the fire's pain. On the lawn, lamplight caught him. The guards rushed. Men shouted, raised weapons. Khalil stumbled, arms aloft, his pain a banner. He screamed, not a cry of defeat, but a war cry. "Come, see what you have made me!" he yelled. The smoke curled behind him, the flames casting dancing shadows on walls. He staggered, but pressed forward. The gates shook with his assault. The guards hesitated. Some froze. For a moment the plantation paused, witness. Then one guard fired. The shot grazed Khalil's shoulder. Fire hissed. Flesh smoked. He fell to his knees, claws at soil. He spat blood. The flame died where skin broke. But in that dying light, the mansion watched. The silent walls, the gilded windows. Other guards advanced. They encircled him, but he didn't plead. He stood, head high. His voice, cracked burning, spoke. "You took Jonas. You burned mothers. You buried names. But here I mark myself. The body can burn. Let every spark remind you, you bought fire, not silence." Guards grabbed him, dragged him to the veranda. Madame Goldberg peeked behind curtains, pale face drawn. The master stood at the stairs, eyes hooded. He watched Khalil struggle, burning, bleeding, his lips pressed tight. They bound Khalil's arms. They poured water. They smothered the flames. They hauled him inside. Khalil coughed, lungs torn. His chest stung, yet he did not bow. He spat in the face of a guard. The guard recoiled. The master watched. Khalil's chest heaved. He met Goldberg's stare. Goldberg whispered, voice cold, "You will regret this." Khalil's mouth curved in a thin line of defiance. "No, you will. You will remember this body, burning, when you think all is safe." They dragged him away. Behind them, the gardens smoldered, the earth smoking. Flames licked the mansion's facade, threatening wood, threatening memory. The night held its breath. Inside, bounds tight, guards and overseers gathered. Khalil was thrown into a cell beneath the house, small, damp, dark. They left him there, bruised, burnt, open wound of flesh. They locked the door. He lay on stone floor, body aching, breathing shallow. Pain roared, but beneath it, something deeper, a seed grown in fire. His skin stung. His spirit glowed. He whispered into the walls, "Let the body burn, let the seed rise." And somewhere, in the silent mansion above, Goldberg felt the tremor. Night had fallen like a confession. The plantation lay quiet, the fields hushed, the mansion looming above like a grave. Khalil lay in his cell beneath the earth, body raw, heart burning, but his mind was alive, pacing walls, tasting escape. He pressed his palm against the cold stone. His fingers found a crack, just wide enough. He tugged. The mortar chipped. His ragged voice whispered to the darkness. Every prison has a seam, every silence, a crack. He worked the gap with fingernails, then bone, a broken hinge, a shift in brick. The wall groaned. He squeezed through. He emerged into a servant's corridor, damp and narrow, smelling of mildew and sweat. Above him, the mansion's heartbeat, quiet footfalls. distant voices, the hush of draped halls. He crept. Portraits watched as he passed. Ancestors in cold frames. Their eyes carried commands. Obey, submit, be seen only by our will. But Khalil moved as though their eyes weighed nothing, as though their legacy was challenge, not command. A door loomed large and barred. A door that never opened, the one whispering servants avoided, the one even masters locked heavy. Khalil's breath caught. He pressed closer. His fingers traced the grain. He knelt. He heard behind the door soft music, the rustle of fabric, half-uttered sighs. He heard children's laughter, distant, tortured by reverb. He felt the weight of secrets pressing out. He forced the door. It resisted. He pressed harder. His anguish, his pain, his vow, all pressed behind him, into the lock. The keyhole glinted. He saw a skeleton key left. One of the guards must have misplaced it. He twisted. Click. The door groaned open. Khalil entered. Inside, a room of whispers. Windows shuttered, draperies heavy. In the center, a four-poster bed, draped in velvet. On its footstool lay garments, some tiny, some adult, unclaimed, hidden, intimate. On a vanity, a photograph, cracked, gilded, a child's face, faint smile, eyes like coal. Next, journals, ledgers, a treasure of papers, a cabinet opened. In it, jars filled with hair, nails, something dark and preserved. A drawer beneath the desk held folded pages, birth records, names, dates. He recognized one, Goldberg, Samuel Jr., mother, Lydia Freeman, born 1820, Houma Parish, Louisiana. Khalil's chest seized. The name Freeman, black name. His lips parted, anger and astonishment trying to speak in the same breath. He rifled the drawer. More. Letters, hidden correspondences. A woman's voice in ink. My dearest Samuel, forgive me these things I must hide. Our child is a secret, but the cost is too great. Preserve their anonymity. A child, a secret. The blood in him thundered. Goldberg paid double, perhaps for bodies like his own. He staggered. His mind reeled. He sank to his knees, holding the photograph. Tears welled, burning. Ruth's child, Miriam's memory, the stolen lives. He whispered to walls, to air, you bastard, you hollow of memory. You were born as we were born. You hunted your own blood. He heard footsteps. He spun. Paper fluttered in his grasp. He tucked the documents into his shirt. He placed the photograph on the desk as though waking it. He backed to the door, but the path was cut by a guard's shadow. A guard's face cold, gun raised. Stop, said the guard. You will not leave with that. Khalil's voice was fierce. I am leaving with truth. The guard advanced. Khalil stepped forward, chest bare beneath torn shirt, eyes bright. The guard hesitated, caught in the weight of his face, the fire in his stance. Khalil lunged. He struck. He knocked the guard aside, seized the gun. The guard cried. Khalil pressed the barrel to his temple. Speak. Who are you? Khalil demanded, voice quiet but lethal. The guard stammered. Khalil's finger brushed the trigger. A threat. The guard whimpered, pressed back. Khalil wrenched open the door and dashed into corridor, gun in hand, documents clutched. Hallways reeled past. He shot toward the servants' stairs, weaving. Doors slammed. Servants gasped. The mansion trembled. He burst outside into the night air. He stumbled through gardens, past shadowed statues, past windows where frightened faces watched. He ran, heart pounding, legs screaming. In the darkness, he found quarters. He collapsed before Ruth and Benjamin, breathing hard. He dropped the papers, the photograph, the gun. Ruth gasped, pressing her hand to his face. Benjamin stared, wide-eyed. He whispered, he is ours, and yet ours is his blood. He hunted what ran in his veins. Goldberg is both master and kin, built to betray his own kind. They pored over the documents. Child's face, secret letters, birth records, names never spoken. Khalil's voice trembled, but fierce. The door that never opened was built by him to hide his shame. Now we open it. In the hush, the plantation slept, but somewhere in the big house, lamps flickered, windows cast anxious shapes. The master would know. The secret had leaked. Khalil's eyes met Ruth's. Tomorrow, we strike deeper. The night exhaled. The door, once sealed, sacred, untouchable, lay open, and the lineage of pain bent toward justice. Moonlight lay thin across the fields as Khalil gathered the small circle of rebels under the cover of black branches. The wind was silent. Even the insects had hushed themselves in dread. Tonight would decide more than flesh. Listen, Khalil whispered, voice low but burning. The time is now. No escape, no negotiation. We strike at dawn. We drag our verdict into the halls of power. They will not hide behind iron doors. Their silence ends tonight. Benjamin's eyes glowed in the weak light. We have no code, no law. We only have our names, our blood, to speak justice. Ruth touched Khalil's arm. Anaya's name will ride the wind. Khalil nodded. And Miriam's, Jonas's, and all the names they buried, we will speak them into flame. They moved then, slipping through rows of cotton, toward the mansion, toward that heart of darkness. The field paths were narrow, faint, but known. The guards were fewer this hour, shifting with sleepers and sentries. Khalil led with quiet confidence. At the servants' wing, doors eased. Khalil placed a match to a hallway curtain. Flame lapped. Alarm startled guards out of slumber. Khalil swung a lantern, casting long shadows across faces. The corridors cracked with panic. Guards rushed. Men shouted. Women in gowns peered from balconies. Children cried. The house burst alive with reaction. Khalil and his team strode forward, carrying papers, the birth records, letters, journals, the secret that rotted Goldberg's throne. Khalil raised his voice. "Hear now, all who hide behind opulence and blood. This is your verdict. You have stolen names. You have hanged mothers. You have sold your own flesh. Tonight, your shame is your sentence." He flung documents into the air. Pages fluttered like wounded birds. The hush of the house received them. Guards tried to seize the papers. Others tried to pull Khalil down. He dodged. He threw words like daggers. "Goldberg, you are born of those you despised. Your blood is our blood. Your crimes are our inheritance. And now your judgment rests with us." A shot rang. Ruth cried out. Benjamin bellowed. The house shuddered. Khalil's chest pounded. He saw Goldberg descend the stairs, his coat trailing, face hard as stone. Goldberg raised a pistol. Khalil advanced. Unarmed now, hands open. A standoff. Silence thundered. Then, like broken glass, rebellion broke loose. A guard lunged at Khalil. Benjamin throttled him. Ruth pulled at the gun in Goldberg's hand. Khalil saw the moment, a beat, and lunged, tackling Goldberg as pages flew around them. The gun discharged somewhere in confusion. They fell. Master and rebel locked in death's dance. Khalil's face was inches from Goldberg's. The master's eyes flickered, a gasp. Khalil's fingers grazed the pistol, then closed on it. He rose, pistol in hand, breathing fire. Goldberg lay broken under him, sweat and blood mixing. The mansion trembled with voices. Khalil looked over at Ruth, Benjamin. He raised the pistol high. His voice cracked but steady. "By the names of those you destroyed, by the blood that runs through us all, your sentence is this: you die branded by your shame." He pulled the trigger. A shot cracked like doom. Goldberg's body spasmed, then stillness swallowed. Silence returned, heavy, slow. The walls gasped. The windows trembled. The great doors creaked as the night exhaled. Khalil walked away, pistol loose in his hand. Pages scattered like ghosts at his feet. He did not glance back. Behind him, the mansion smoldered with secrets laid bare. That night, no judge weighed scales, no law read verdict, but justice, ancient, unflinching, rose in flame. Smoke curled over the plantation as dawn trembled on the horizon. Khalil walked among the ruins, feet heavy, heart alight. The cotton fields were singed, barns ravaged, the mansion shrouded in ash and silence. The land itself seemed to inhale, awaiting a reckoning. He passed the spent bodies of guards and overseers, some dead, some writhing. He heard soft moans. He didn't stop. His steps were a march, each footfall a drumbeat, each breath a vow. Ruth came behind him, holding Anaya's scorched dress. Benjamin trailed, eyes wide with sorrow and fierceness. Together they reached the great gate where the name Goldberg Plantation still loomed, black against pale sky. Khalil paused. He raised the dress. The fragment was small, a girl's ruffle, charred, but in his hands it became a banner. He whispered. They said her name was erased. No tombstone, no whisper, but I carry her name, Anaya, and I cast it into flame. He dropped the dress to the ground. It fluttered in embers. He closed his eyes, as though he could feel Miriam's voice, Jonas's breath, Ruth's tears, Benjamin's oath. Khalil strode forward into the ruins of the mansion. Smoke twisted around broken windows. Corridors opened to the sky. He entered the hall. Portraits hung askew. Debris littered marble floors. The silence was loud as apocalypse. He climbed the staircase, chest scarred, body aching. On the landing floor, he came to the forbidden room. The door lay open. Inside, the jars, the photographs, the records, scattered by fire, by rage, by revelation. Khalil walked into the room that hid the secrets. He touched the jar of hair, unlidded it, shook it, and let the strands drift to the floor. He touched the photograph of young Samuel Goldberg, blood in his veins masked by lineage. He whispered to the walls, "You built your empire on silence, but silence is heavy. Silence breaks with blood." He turned and left. Outside, the sun began to climb. The smell of charred wood, bitter smoke, and fresh earth mingled. Khalil stepped into the open fields. Slaves from distant plantations, those who had heard the blaze, approached, cautious. drawn by rumor of fire, of revolt, of a new shape in the ruins. He did not speak at first. He let the wind carry his presence. He let them see a man undone by pain, but unbowed. Benjamin came to his side. Ruth stood behind. They stood together. Khalil closed his eyes. He raised his arms upward. I am the son of the night, born of bodies burned, nurtured by pain, risen in fire. This land, once veins of cotton and blood, now swells with our names. We are many. We are legacy, and we will not be buried in silence again. He opened his eyes. The watchers in the fields shifted, stood straighter, hope kindling. The ruins behind him were no longer only ruin. They were altar, memorial, threshold. He turned toward the horizon. He felt wind, quiet at first, then rising. He felt memory in it. Miriam, Anaya, Jonas, Ruth, Benjamin, every name they tried to erase. He began to walk. The others followed, step by step, across burned earth, through the fields toward the future. If this story lit a fire inside you, then don't let it die here. Subscribe to the channel, leave your like, and share it with those who carry in their blood the pain and the strength of those who came before.